Hi, today I want to show y'all Picometric, software I've been working on. What is Picometric? This is designed to help you create isometric worlds in Picotron. Picotron is a fantasy console workstation kind of thing by the guy who made Pico 8, Zep. Really nice to work with. You see me clicking the new tile shapes over here. I don't have to do that. I made hotkeys recently. WASD is your camera control, and TFGH right beside WASD is for these corner pieces. A little confusing, but it'll feel native as soon as you do it. 2 is your flat piece right above WASD. And then you have 1 and 3 and Q and E. Just to make it very simple to quickly hop around and tile out in any forms that you'd like. I'm still myself becoming a little bit native. If you need to place a tile behind another tile, because they'll draw in front naturally in the order that you place them, but you can hold control and put it at the back of the layer, which is a good time to bring up the layer system. The layers are containers for groups of tiles, objects, which I'm working on a little bit later today, and line work. Line work is just what it sounds like. You want to make some accents, you want to embellish, that's fine. You'll notice that it's a little bit offset here. That's because the isometric grid, there's really 4 pixels that make the meeting point between the tiles. And so it's a little bit difficult to predict which angle you're coming from and so forth. So I did add a extra control here that you can hit TFGH here as well and make that just so. It's, up to you if that really matters depending on what you're doing, because what you can do with these lines is I can add tags. I can spell the tag correctly. I can make it editor only by double clicking the visibility eye, which will cycle between visible, invisible, and editor only visibility, which it's its own tag, editor only, but as long as you in your own code account for that, you can ignore these layers in your own project. So let's go ahead and stop working with this green tile, because that's not great, is it? I don't really like it. It's a little basic. It's just the base tile that all the tiles are warped from. Here I've made some tiles that I can actually just copy and paste in with the clipboard. You can do that in 3x3 patterns, 2x2 patterns, or 1 at a time. Currently, that's the limit of what you can import, or the ways that you can import, I should say. I actually should have checked one parameter before I did this. You see the moon and the sun here. These influence the lighting that the tile will generate with. And blue, that's probably a little strong. I don't really know why that's still the default color, and it's gonna get changed. However, what we can do is we can go into our settings. I just hit slash, but you can also just click this question mark button. The guide will pop up by default. It'll give you a little bit of the information that I'm trying to cover here. Probably most of it, to be honest, but I would read through this when you start using the program, just so to familiarize yourself. It'll teach you about the export and stuff like that, and it also has some copy-pastable code snippets. You can just hit Control-C and port it over to your project to make it very easy. Here you can change the undo limit as well, how many stacks, because you should consider, I'm going to click right here on the offset, you can cycle through the RAM, the CPU usage, and the offset that the camera's at. You should consider that the higher you bring the undo limit, the more RAM you're going to take up, and Picotron deliberately limits the resources that you're working with, so just keep that in mind. I keep it at 25, and that's personally fine for me. I'm going to hide the guide for right now, and the reason I opened the settings to begin with is we have this setting here, auto regenerate shadow colors. It's very laggy. I wouldn't do it with much more than what we have on the tile set here. Really, I recommend just doing it with like the 2 core colors, because that'll gives you the information needed. So, and you can just do something like this, and maybe as well we'll just add corners, and right now I'm just going to use the hotkeys plus and minus to navigate the palette. Same as same as the graphics editor. Anyway, so now we're reduced. We can use this with a little bit less lag, and you see that changes right on the fly. I actually kind of like this purplish hint, and that doesn't look horrible. I'm going to go with that for this. That's fine. And we'll re-import, making sure to turn the setting off so we don't lag ourselves later. Oops, grab you. Helps if you hit Control-C. And I'll grab the fence. The fence isn't really going to look great on the dirt. You should keep that in mind, what you're trying to do, because there are natural limitations to what we're working with here. Anyway, now we have some better lighting. Although I really don't like this shapes, so let's just nuke that layer, start over. And now you can start to see the actual purpose of putting levels together. So walk through a little bit of this. It is a pretty manual process with this program. You should keep that in mind, and you should keep in mind, whether this is a suitable tool for the project you're trying to make. And yeah, I'm open to feedback. I want to make this as nice of a utility for everybody in the community. It is, I should mention, this is my first software release altogether. I've only been programming since November, probably. And so this is all new to me, especially Lua. But I think that you'll see once we get into the template, the functionality of this. I just wanted something that would, be suitable for my project, but also beneficial for others. That is the wrong one. We're going to go with this. I did try to make it so that when you're importing sprites, the up on the palette will always face northeast, and it'll align to that. So if you can remember that, which I sometimes do, it makes it easier. All right, this is crap, but it's probably enough. Actually, no, we'll draw it a little bit more out in this direction. I just want to show off the basic templates for the collision and that kind of stuff, because this is, it's still in development, and I do actually want to get back to work, to be completely honest, but I'm excited. I want to show this off with you guys. All right. I don't think right now that the player position, because you can see the offset here, player's going to spawn probably right here. I think that I have them set at 0, 0 still, although we can just fabricate that. Why not? Why does that matter? Okay, great. Now we hit save, and we have the untitled PMC. It's good to note that you'll want, and I do have it, in the intro, but make sure that you unsandbox this so that you can properly save files and use the Wrangle file system. It's just a limitation of Picotron. Also, I would recommend that you use the default app command and set the PMC file type to Picometric. I doubt other creators are using that right now, but it'll make it so that when you save a project inside your cart, the map will reopen, and so you can make live changes. That's an important, I wanted this to functionally replace the map editor. Sometimes you'll want to place a tile, and I probably won't be able to get a good example here, but you'll be conflicting right here. I can't place a tile, so you don't have to make a new layer. It's just the way that they align on the grid and check for the other tiles sometimes is a little confusing. And the same goes for deletion. You'll want to probably change to that tile type before you right click to delete. Makes it a little bit easier. If I didn't mention hotkeys, this is an important time too. The scrolling is how you change these palette colors. It's how you change these palette colors if you want to either make your UI fancy, whatever the hell you want, or let's say that you're using a custom palette as with this hint here. So we'll just go into files. I have a palettes folder right here. And let's choose our fantasy palette. It's going to look horrible on this tile set. However, you just hit, whoops, we have to actually copy the link up there, and then you hit Control V. And if I save it and I close it, am I in Picometric right now? Yes. It'll automatically load back with this. Now I don't want that, and it's, you know, it's obviously suitable if you're going to do the whole game that way. That just sets it back to the default, and you know, not true default because we already messed with it a little bit, but that's fine. Now I'm going to export, and using the same systems that I have here. So we have the renderings right here, we have collision, and we have a directional movement. The character template is by an artist, Pixel Slime 99. That is not something I'm providing. It's a good resource. I'll include a link to them. And I did forget to include the collision, so we'll set that up really quickly. Make a bright color so that we can see it. Set it to editor only. Draw our lines. And done. And we set collision. And then I can hit Control C in that field, make a new path. Forget to change, this is the default color right here, and this is the path color. So it'll always make new paths. And this is just, you know, if you can't see the cursor on the background, you can change it right there. Try to keep it compatible. And we'll do another path color right here, or sorry, another collision cut right there. Try and keep them from walking there. And this time we will use the proper default color. Editor only again. Boom. And set collision. And then we go here and we hit export. And now we are all good to go and show you the template. I'm going to first, the export, the reason for that is the project file size. Why can I not see? Okay. Sorry, I'm a little bit close to my screen, so it makes it harder to read. You'll see the export is dramatically lower in size than the regular file, which I did not mean to open in that What I meant to do is rename it to untitled.pod, because these are all just pods with fancy names. And I want to show you the difference. We just take out some of the content for the editor, and we reduce the graphics bank. The graphics bank has 300 slots, and it has 20 tiles per sprite, you know, rendering every angle. And so this, we get rid of everything unused, and we shrink down. We change all the indexes, basically. Makes it super simple. You have visibility data for the layer. You have the sprite and the tile that it maps to. Objects is not there yet. Here we can see the collision tag, etc., etc. Now I'm going to load the templates file and hope that my character is in a good position. And it's not. Of course it's not. Why would it be? And we'll go over here and change that to, what the, 50. That's good. And then 100. That's not quite good. 140. That's beautiful. So now we are in the collision zone, and you can see it's working beautifully. You can't walk up and down where you don't want to. I estimate that there's probably room for improvement on this by a more talented developer, and I invite that. And this is just to get up and running. You see, yeah, I already broke the system right there. It's not fully finished, and I aim to keep working on it. At least it's keeping us up now, or out now. No, not even that. So my hope is that getting more eyes on it, we can improve it a little bit, make it more functional for everybody. But my point with making it is just to make it a more seamless process to make isometric and nice looking maps. Because, you know, I do like the classic style, the top view style, but I think that this is more for me, and I'm sure there's other people who enjoy it too. Another interesting possibility that I want to offer people, it's not currently in the software, but you can Here I have my reflexes. This is just basic library stuff. This is where I paste the collision code that you get from the software, which is admittedly ugly. This is just dismissing them. It's saying, hey, if these points are, if the whole line is that far away, we can ignore it. We can entirely ignore it. But if it's within that range, then it'll consider the distance for every point along the distance of the line, and then yeah, with my point that I was getting to here for is you can check for different tags. You can, whatever system you want to do, you can use this to make different layers visible. I do intend to put out a demo when I have the objects system done, where we'll have the player entering a zone and the rest of the map disappearing around them, kind of thing. That's how I want it to work. So you can now have an overworld and have everything just built in place, Anyway, I hope that you guys like this, and we're looking at some bald paintings now. ADHD, sorry. I will be putting this out tomorrow. If you have any comments, any questions, I'm in the Picotron Discord, and we have a thread there. And yeah, that's about it. Thank you guys.